Helldivers, Thornton here out at Keystone doing a little mountain biking today, but we're going to be talking about fourth factions today because, well, the three remaining factions are all surging towards Super Earth, and it could be a disastrous end for, well, what's coming next. We're going to go over all of that, but without further ado, let's jump into today's topic.
So things are looking pretty dire, fellow Helldivers. As you've probably noticed by looking at the galactic map, all three fronts are moving incredibly close to Super Earth, with the Illuminate the closest, followed by the Automatons and the Terminids. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know the Illuminates are coming in with some pretty big reinforcements in the near future. And we've also talked about the fact that there is stuff in the subtitles about all three factions surging towards Super Earth, so we might be getting another Super Earth clash, which I'm actually totally for. Maybe we'll finally see this cargo truck, which we've covered gameplay of before in the past. It was supposed to be the next vehicle added in for objectives, and I think it would be pretty awesome. That being said, with all of them teaming up, we do have one ace in the hole. We are getting the brand new release for the Xbox tomorrow. I'm super excited. Some players on Xbox are already able to preload, and I'm looking forward to hopping on to stream tomorrow morning and actually playing with a bunch of the Xbox Helldivers, so can't wait for that to finally drop in. But something that the Xbox Helldivers have noticed, and they actually posted on Reddit saying, as a coming Hell Jumper, what's this open space over here about? Future enemy faction waiting to try impeding on my democracy? And that brings us to today's topic, because there's a ton of stuff in the files that indicates that yes, there is going to be a faction we have not yet before seen in the Helldivers universe, because Helldivers 1, well, I guess they had cyborgs, which we'll go over in the video, but we haven't seen the galactic map have 4 different factions on it. Anyways, let's just start talking about what we know. One, we know that there is going to be a presidential election in the near future. We've gone over the game files. But there's something that a lot of players are kind of curious about now. Could the fact that a president was elected without us actually knowing lead to a rebellion? And will there be a fourth faction after the Illuminate, such as the Super Earth Rebels? And we have a couple of stuff that points towards yes. Ironsights let us know that rebels exist alongside civilians as NPCs in the game files. Not sure when, if they will be added. It appears to be leftover content from early development. He went ahead and gave us a little bit more information, such as there are rebels in the files, but that might not really be considered a full faction. They are classified under Super Earth. I'd love to see environment-based sub-factions like we saw in early concept art. Seeing these automatons and forests would be so cool, and it is actually a very cool image. But that makes me wonder, if they're not going to be a full force faction, then what exactly are they going to be? And Asunder actually went ahead, who's another notable data miner, and thinks that rebels are just a story plot device, and I think that would line up perfectly with the whole presidential election thing, as most rebellions are actually formed because members of the society don't agree with what the government has done. That being said, they're probably going to have to face the wall, but there is a ton of stuff found in the files that seem to indicate there's going to be a large story plot revolving around this, and it might be something we might be fighting in the very near future. In case you guys didn't know, there are a ton of factions right now within Super Earth. There is the Ministry of Humanity, Ministry of Prosperity, Ministry of Expansion, Ministry of Unity, Ministry of Science, and Ministry of Intelligence, but no one really needs that, Ministry of Truth, and of course, the Ministry of Defense. Now, all those actually have specific mission and goals found in the game files. For instance, the Ministry of Science is constantly pushing Super Earth technology forward and ensures our security over our enemies. As we know, we are going to be getting new types of weapons and a science officer. It makes sense that we're going to see this faction pop up pretty soon. Of course, the Ministry of Defense is responsible for the defense of Super Earth against external threats. It manages the Super Earth armed forces, which we'll probably see when that new mansion comes in with the President files and we have to defend Super Earth itself. The Ministry of Unity ensures all of mankind is united as one and protects us from internal threats such as deviant behavior and expression of dangerous ideas. Fun enough, there is a rebel faction found in the NPC files. So it does look like Ministry of Unity is going to have some work to do, as that enemy faction will be coming in the near future. Of course, the Ministry of Expansion tirelessly works to increase Super Earth's reach and secure vital resources for our society to thrive, and the Ministry of Truth is responsible for keeping all citizens well informed and mentally equipped to withstand our enemies' vile propaganda. And if you disagree with that, well, you need to go see your nearest democracy officer, because they'd like to have a word with you. However, it's not just Super Earth that has a plethora of factions that are going to be coming into the game in the very near future. When we look at the galactic map, we notice that currently it is divided in such a way that there is going to be room for more factions, meaning that there will be something coming after the Illuminate. But the question is, well, what is it going to be? And it appears that there is a person, or a architect if you will, that is running the game behind the scenes and could be actually be responsible for also a fourth faction as well, at least according to some current theories. One that I liked by Asunder is that he's controlling all of them. This is all a giant war against Super Earth. Now, the first thing to go over is that there are a lot of people that are hoping we get rebels in the game, and it's very possible that that is an actual option, because Ironsight's pointed out that in the files right now there is an NPC type named rebels. And what's important to know is that cyborgs in the original Helldivers game were the rebels, and they were a product of Super Earth. Ironsight's broke down pretty easily what's going on with the rebel faction, because there is a gentleman called the Architect, as we mentioned, that seems to be the creator of the bots. It is going to be fairly far away, and it was possibly sourced from the second group of cyborg researchers that fled from Cyberstan during the 100-year raid. These researchers then formed the Automaton Development Group. However, it's unknown right now if the Architect is even human, and file strings speculate it being an entirely new alien race, though that is speculated by the NPCs that are also in the game. We've actually seen science officers NPCs that we went over in a video the other day. They look to be part of an ongoing crew progression system that would be really cool coming in the near future. There's also this other really cool transmission, and it will give you a little bit more lore and insight and go into a little bit further of what Ironsight is actually talking about into the cyborg menace.
History matters. After the First Galactic War, Super Earth kindly allowed the cyborg secessionists to live, giving them stable work deep within the mines of Cyberstan. But, twisted by their implants, the cyborgs sought their revenge by creating the Automaton Legion.
So it's very clear that the cyborgs went to Cyberstan, created the automatons to fight us, but that the Architect might actually be one of those units, and he also seems like he could be involved in the evolution of the bugs in some capacity. As Ironsight says, one of the NPCs says the Architect is involved with the evolution of bugs in some ways. I mean, that's a pretty clear-cut thing going on right now. So while I do think it is possible there's going to be a rebel faction that could be the fourth one, I like the idea that it's going to be an entirely new race. Symbiotes would be very cool, and that the rebels will be more of a side faction slash mini faction that pops up from time to time. It doesn't make sense to really have us fight humans when there are so much more deadly threats, although when we look at how we're doing in the war, we're probably the most deadly.
Let me know down below, guys, what are your thoughts on Helldivers 2 adding a fourth faction, and how do you feel about Xbox release coming tomorrow? Also, don't forget to check out my new outdoor channel right here, and until next time, everyone, thanks for stopping by. Keep spreading managed democracy.